friends, and welcome back to a very exciting episode of Coffee and Wrestling, a wrestling podcast with your hosts, Jamie and Mark.
We are just on the other side of quite possibly WWE's. All right, I've had all day to think about this. Obviously, the podcast is going out late. I've had all day to think about this, and we're like every other podcast we ever talk about, we're going to jump right into it. I can't get over it. I cannot see.
It's been a weird couple days.
Why the hell we're sitting on Monday afternoon, wondering what the hell is going to happen with Cody Rhodes.
Right.
A year ago, you could have asked me this question, and I would have been like,
"Well,
Mania.
we've got time,
Mania? WrestleMania 40. What are you talking about?" But back then, it was a question of how are we going to get to WrestleMania 40. Now it's a question of, is it ever going to happen?
Who's wrestling at WrestleMania 40?
As of right now, Monday Night Raw has not happened. There's a press conference that will be happening this Thursday for a face-to-face between Roman.
It's like a live event.
And The Rock. And there has yet to be an official announcement that Roman will be facing The Rock for the Universal Championship at WrestleMania 40 in the main event.
The only match that we know about is Bayley versus Io Sky.
Yes. And
for
even
WrestleMania.
Then, that's just her announcing it. It hasn't been...
Oh, there's a card. It's official.
Is it? I haven't seen it yet. Okay, I haven't been on social media that much.
That is the only thing that is official. Granted, it is only February, the beginning of February, but here we are about 2 months out for the biggest event of the year in all of wrestling.
Right.
Is definitely WrestleMania. People that don't even watch wrestling during the week tune in to watch something like WrestleMania. Right. So the idea that we're 2 months out and we only know one match is absolutely absurd to me. And like you said, here we are days later after what we were expecting to be Cody coming out on SmackDown to announce his match with Roman. When he won the Royal Rumble, he definitely pointed to Roman. Right. Roman went, "Me?"
Okay.
We made a whole thing about it.
Let's back up then. Let's get back to like where this all started.
Okay, sure.
So he wins the Rumble. Of course, that was
2 years in a row. Let's make a big deal about it.
Right. That was the biggest question. By the way, I got to put it out there just because got to right the wrongs. WWE definitely skirted an individual with the Royal Rumble winning twice in a row.
Yes, I had found that out. They had made a big deal about it being Stone Cold Steve Austin was the last time that somebody had won 2 years in a row. It was like 25, something like that.
Chris Benoit won it 2 years in a row.
Yeah, I think it was 2002, 2003. So the idea that we're just skipping over records.
WWE has completely eliminated that man from the record books. So just little shinfo out there. Chris Benoit did win 2 years in a row. I don't know the years.
But of course, I think it was 2002, 2003.
So, yeah, something like that. But yeah, the WWE will not recognize that. So just kind of a little bit of shinfo there. So we have, that was like the big question going into the Rumble. When the first of the year came around, the Premium Live event was only a few days away. CM Punk and Cody Rhodes had words. It was a lot of hype between, okay, who's going to win the Rumble?
Right.
And it could go, it could have gone a myriad of different ways.
Right.
And either way, no matter how the Rumble was going to go, everybody was like, well, it's going to end up being Cody and Roman at Mania.
Sure.
Whether he wins the Rumble, whether he just challenges him,
right.
whatever the case may be.
It's got to happen one day or another. And back up even a little bit more, WWE is announcing their 2K24. Cody Rhodes is on the cover,
finish the story,
and all they're talking about is finish the story.
It's on there, but
story.
Cody Rhodes is like the main focus. Finish the story. That's like that was the whole commercial. That was the entire commercial. They adopted that entire 2K24 commercial
around this WrestleMania event that they were talking about and hinting towards.
They put him on the cover. They've got all this hype behind him. And it's unfortunate. CM Punk gets injured in the Royal Rumble, tears his tricep. Other tricep, not the one that he tore while he was in AEW.
The other one.
He's going to be out for 6, 7, 8, 9 months.
I think it says 4 to 6 months is usually for a torn tricep, but still.
We're already down one huge name for Mania.
Right.
And it was leading up to Mania to be CM Punk versus Seth Rollins.
Right.
Which has got to be, when Punk came in, had to be like the hottest feud that was going right there besides Cody and Roman.
Right.
So
the writing was on the wall for both of these matches. Or so it seemed.
Right, and unfortunately, stuff happens. People get injured. Seth is injured. I mean, he's got the busted knee, but he's stated that he's going to do his best to make it to WrestleMania 40. Which, saying that out loud right now, I haven't really even thought of that condition. That let's say Cody picks Seth, what if Seth's not cleared by the time WrestleMania 40 rolls around?
And that's what I've been wondering too, because even before then, even going further back, I keep feeling like we say something and go, but further back, before the Royal Rumble, Gunther was stating that he was going to win the Royal Rumble and face Seth.
Right.
Then Seth came out because he was hurt and said, well, I'm still going to be able to wrestle at WrestleMania because I'm going to make it work, even though they told me it's going to be 3 to 4 months. I'll be fine in 2.
Right.
Which is crazy to say out loud.
I mean,
then, like you said, now all of this now, it's kind of weird.
You'd almost think they would, instead of, I don't know. Well, there was rumors. There are rumors coming out now, and I mean, of course, the Dave Meltzers of this world always have these inside scoops, and they don't actually say who they are.
Yeah.
So it's all merely speculation. But there are rumors that have come out now that as early as mid to early January, plans were already in motion between a select few individuals within WWE higher ups.
Okay.
That The Rock and Roman was going to be a go for Mania anyways.
Okay, so like beginning of January. So like when The Rock came back to SmackDown, they were already saying that this was going to happen.
Right.
Which would make sense. I mean, the whole where should I sit? Should I sit at the head of the table?
Right.
Was interesting because that's what left my mind after that was finished. But then they had Royal Rumble.
Right. Which I don't know. I don't really know how to digest all that, especially now knowing what the landscape looks like, because it felt like back then it could have just been The Rock hyping up the match that could possibly be. I think anybody back then had a hard time believing, like, no, they're not going to take this position from Cody that he has been, honest to God, grinding for the past 2 years.
Yeah, since he's been in the WWE.
And the reason why he came back, like, there's no way he's going to give it to him. And then even beyond that, so we've had the Rumble. We're talking about going back further. Like this, if they don't give Cody his due at Mania, okay, you have to consider the amount of bodies that are laying in the wake of Cody Rhodes' build-up to finishing the story.
Right.
So if Cody Rhodes doesn't finish the story, you now have just basically made Drew McIntyre, you have made Sami Zayn, Shinsuke Nakamura, Seth Rollins, and anybody else that has faced either Cody or Roman, you have diminished them laying down and looking up at the lights for Cody or for Roman to get to this point to only pull the carpet out from underneath him.
Yeah, so what changed from the beginning of January to Royal Rumble closing in to this?
I can either say this as an individual that believes in people, that believes that my heroes of my past are not complete pieces of shit.
Okay.
Or I can tell you how I really feel.
Well, should we explain exactly what's going on just in case we've explained everything else but not what happened with Cody?
Might as well.
Okay, so they gave us the obvious setup for Cody Rhodes to confront Roman Reigns at SmackDown this week. Why else would he go to SmackDown?
Actually, you're going to go back further than that with the
here we go.
With Seth's promo. Seth came out last week, or was it on Raw?
It was on Raw.
Came out and basically made his case to Cody. Hey, that's not the belt you want.
Right.
That's the whatever belt. That's the Hollywood
the Hulk
belt.
Hogan
that's
belt.
That's the 3 times a year belt. That's the part-timer belt. What you want is the workhorse belt. We've got a history that needs to be finished, and what better than to put the other world, what he said was the same level championship as Roman's.
That's what Seth says.
And of course,
now, this Cody is weird because this is 2 days after. So obviously they didn't know CM Punk was going to be hurt.
Right.
But 2 days later, they've already decided to change all of the plans and put this idea in people's minds that Cody Rhodes might actually pick Seth Rollins instead as his opponent.
And another rumor that's come out is saying that the reason that this whole shift from Cody and Roman to Rock Roman was fueled by Punk getting hurt.
Okay.
By taking that big match away.
I can see that.
I can see it. I disagree with it.
I don't think that's it, but I can see it.
So Seth makes this big deal. Says, this is the title you want. And of course, in classic WWE fashion, never say never. Cody says, I'll think about it.
Right.
Okay. Classic
Such a face.
Yeah, classic thing. He's got to think about it because Seth brings up a lot of really good ideas. Or
he
a
actually
lot of
really
good
did.
Points, you know?
This is the Dusty title,
This is the title he did win. This is the one that he held, So he brings up a lot of good points, and left everybody kind of going, okay, like I could see Seth and Cody at Mania for the World Heavyweight Championship.
But I think the question was, why the hell are they doing that?
Well, I think we all thought come Wednesday, or God damn it, come Friday at SmackDown, Cody Rhodes is going to come out just like how Bayley came out and did the swerve, which, we won't even get into that.
Yes,
but
kudos to you. You got it right.
I'm not even worried about that. I'm ecstatic that Io Sky and Bayley are just going to happen at Mania. I think it's going to be a great match. But we all thought Cody Rhodes is going to come out and say, you know what, Seth, you make a great point, but I'm here to finish the story. That's been his for 2 years. Finish the story. Everything he says. What do you guys want to talk about? Well, we want to talk about finishing the story. That's all we want to talk about with Cody anymore.
People ask, like, what is the story? It's to get Roman's belt from Roman. And then he was even asked on Busted Open, does that mean at WrestleMania? And he says,
of course.
I think so.
He's basically,
how could it not be at WrestleMania? So tune in. It's now Friday Night SmackDown again. No word of Seth, just Cody Rhodes.
Right.
He comes out and basically explains that he's talked to a lot of people about this match. A lot of superstars.
Well, he's talking to Roman. Roman comes out and this is another part. Completely shits on Seth Rollins' entire body of work. Since getting that belt.
His title.
Yeah, it's saying it's the second. You can either be the number 1, number 2 guy in the company, or you can take a shot at the number 1 guy.
Right, which is so silly to put your guys below each other, because now you just put Seth's belt as second and made Roman's belt number 1.
Well, again, more speculation is that Roman came out and kind of went in business for himself, looking at the landscape, thinking, "Wow, the way that everything's going, it's kind of a dog-eat-dog world in WWE again, with The Rock just stepping in and saying, hey, I want that belt.
Right.
And there's even more rumors about he's vying to win the belt off Roman.
Yeah.
You're going to end that story with Roman Reigns, the bloodline, by giving the belt to The Rock?
So by this point, The Rock has already been appointed on the board of directors for TKO.
Right.
And
huge move.
Now, like I said, Cody Rhodes
is saying... way too much goddamn money.
Cody Rhodes is saying that he spoke with a lot of WWE legends, and one of them being, somebody that you're very familiar with. Out comes The Rock.
And all of our hopes and dreams go out the window.
I just feel like there was I don't know how long it lasted, maybe about 5 minutes or less, of just sheer confusion.
Yep.
And if you don't follow us on X, make sure you do. We are at CAW Wrestling Pod. I was on there afterwards, kind of like feeling out how everybody was like, what they were talking about, what they were saying. And the confusion from everybody was just, did they just announce that match?
Yeah,
is that happening at WrestleMania? This WrestleMania?
Cody Rhodes, the only thing Cody Rhodes alluded to was that he did not want to wrestle Roman for the title at Mania.
But he did say that he wanted to wrestle Roman.
He said, I want him, just not at Mania. So now, okay, are we going to
Why wouldn't you want him at Mania?
So are we going to put him at Elimination Chamber? Because that sure as hell isn't going to be the belt or the pay-per-view that changes.
Well, and that's so silly, too. Because you're just setting up Cody for this match that we're all just going to be like, oh my God, this isn't going to happen.
Right.
Because nobody wants to see Roman versus Rock with no title.
Of course not.
What's the point?
It just was real. And then they don't do nothing. Rock and Roman have the stare down.
Of course.
And it goes off the air.
That's it.
And that's it. And everybody from that point on WWE has been in a very steady climb back up the ladder of favoritism within the wrestling community.
Sure.
They have delivered a product and a storyline that has every week, whether you like the show or not, has delivered enough to become that household name again.
Right.
WWE has really stepped their game up with their women's division, at least the singles championships. They've really put a lot of time and effort into new people that are upcoming from NXT.
Absolutely.
They've done a lot in 2023. They did a lot, and honest to God, I feel like they've done a lot of good for themselves building up till now.
Yeah.
And this feels like it's a turning of the tides again. Now people are looking at WWE like, what are they doing?
Yeah.
Like, why they really put a sour taste in people's mouths. And of course, cards are always subject to change.
Of course.
That is the name of this business. It doesn't matter the day of, 5 minutes before the match, somebody could slip and bump their head, and now you got to change the card.
Yeah.
So anything could happen from tonight until Mania, we've got what, 3 months, give or take? Actually, no, less than that.
2
months. So anything could happen. That's 8 Raws. That's 8 SmackDowns. Plus we have Elimination Chamber. So a lot can still happen here in the near future that has to do with this. Number one, I can't see why they did this. Like, I get the big money match. I get the big name, The Rock, the Roman, the bloodline, the same
Guaranteed
family.
Sell,
of course. But is it really not a lie to look at WWE and say that they just don't look at the fan base that cares the most about this product?
I think that's the biggest concern here. I think David LaGreca said that perfectly. You're not thinking about what everybody wanted. Why wasn't that factored in? If WrestleMania is something that people are spending, $7 or $8 for Peacock to be able to watch, it's not like you're still making $60 a pop and you need this money to fuel what you're doing. This is just chump change in WWE's pocket for WrestleMania.
Right.
People going there is a whole different thing, but it's not like they're trying to make this huge amount of money off of this. It's really odd unless you say, which the rumors are saying, is that The Rock pretty much put himself in this position, saying that he would draw enough to make it interesting.
The quote that has come out is that he was there to save WrestleMania.
Which is weird because we haven't even really started WrestleMania.
It's really unfortunate that I'm a huge fan of The Rock. Like, I grew up with The Rock. I'm a Stone Cold guy. Like, by all means, Stone Cold over The Rock any day. But he pivotal to my wrestling fandom when I was a teenager. So I love The Rock, and I don't want to diminish. It's not that I'm not excited about The Rock and Roman at Mania. I think that match is going to be really good no matter what. And yes, I'm going to watch it no matter what.
Yeah.
But it's difficult knowing that The Rock believes that he had to swoop in and save WrestleMania. It's like, you don't need to. Look at the people you have on the roster. We haven't needed The Rock in 15 years?
Sure.
Like, John Cena, he's even been like, well, I'm just going to start losing to people because I'm on my way out. At this point in The Rock's career, he has done it all. He has done everything you could as a performer. I'm sure there's 1 or 2 accolades he hasn't done, but Jesus Christ, we don't need Dwayne The Rock Johnson to fucking show up at WrestleMania 40 because he thinks he is going to be the thing that saves WrestleMania when you already have Cody Rhodes for the past 2 goddamn years been building up this bullshit. You've already broken the hearts of those fans one time before, and now you're going to tell me that he's not a big enough draw that he couldn't be a WrestleMania main event.
Right, but also,
what the fuck?
Classically, what usually will happen is that when you win the Royal Rumble, you're able to pick, obviously, whatever opponent you want with a title, and you're usually the main event at WrestleMania. That's the big thing.
I heard a stat today. It's promised that is what you get, but it's not always the case. It's roughly about half the people that have won the Royal Rumble have had a main event at WrestleMania.
Okay.
A main event. Not that they haven't had one at Mania, but they
usually it's at Mania.
And it is the main event.
At least half the time it's the main event. Okay, so it just puts the spot on how important that Royal Rumble is, and it puts Royal Rumble on a pedestal as a pay-per-view or pre-LE in my eyes.
But not this one.
No, because it diminishes everything Cody just did.
Why the fuck did we have the Rumble then?
There shouldn't have been one if we were already teasing, and I thought that was weird too. The fact that we were teasing The Rock versus Roman, in my mind, before this Royal Rumble Premium Live event even happened, you're already teasing The Rock versus Roman.
Well, they've been teasing it for a year and a half now.
Yeah, it's been years, but now it's
2 years
really, really newly.
I mean, it's there.
Shown.
It's at the forefront. It's an option in the game menu when you go to select match.
Right.
It's there.
Rock versus Roman.
And for some reason, WWE decided to gray out Cody Rhodes' name, and it's like,
I can see why they would do that. Okay, so in my mind, you do that so you leave the opportunity open for the Royal Rumble winner that they might go after Roman.
Right.
But in my mind, you did that because whoever was going to win was going to face Seth. So a while ago,
prize.
Yeah, I had assumed that that's where we were going. So when Cody won after the Royal Rumble happened, now I'm all confused well, clearly he's going to go after Roman. This doesn't make any sense.
And especially since at the end of the Rumble, he looks up at the Mania sign and then he looks at Roman and points.
Right. Again, I thought it was so weird. Roman's like, me?
And it wasn't like Seth wasn't there. He was
right
in the
there.
rafters on the other side of the arena.
Right.
So he had the option. Granted, he didn't have that talk with Seth afterwards, but he did. He looked at Roman, pointed at him, pointed the WrestleMania sign.
And there was a press...
After winning the Royal Rumble for the second time in a row.
Also a press conference afterwards, and Cody said, I'm going after Roman.
Right.
So everything just made sense, and now here, 2 days later...
Completely different.
Everything is really starting to change, so... I'm assuming it's Rock versus Roman.
I mean, I'm sure they're going to solidify that Thursday.
At this live event that they're doing. Are they trying to get people to watch it? Is that
of course? Yeah. Of course, they're trying to build hype, and I don't think you need to even build hype. I think you just need to say, "Hey, Rock's going to face Roman at WrestleMania." I'm in. I'm
going to watch it. I just feel bad. Everybody else is secondary.
But now, where do you go from here? Okay, let's look at the landscape right now.
Okay.
So let's say everything pans out the way that we think it's going to. Seth and Cody are going to have their match. Cody. We'll get to that. Rock and Roman are going to have their match at Mania. So there you go. You got. Let's say those are your two main event. Saturday and Sunday.
Yeah.
Of course, Sunday is going to be Roman and Rock. So where do we go from here? I don't think
WrestleMania wise.
I mean, post WrestleMania.
Okay.
What course can they take that doesn't make it feel like they just had to take that course because that's the Rock came in and said, I want this match.
It does feel like that, especially since it feels like Cody's going to win Seth's belt, which is kind of ridiculous. And then what does that leave for Roman? In all four outcomes of these matches, whether Seth wins, Cody wins, or Rock wins, or Roman wins, it doesn't matter what combination of results of these matches. Nothing is going to make sense. Nothing is going to feel good. No.
If The Rock wins the title, it's going to be one giant eye roll.
He's just shit on the entire company.
He just shit on the past 3 years of storyline that they tried to build up with the bloodline.
Just to have somebody who doesn't wrestle full time again win it.
If Roman wins, why did we have Roman and Rock fight?
Yeah.
To snuff out Cody Rhodes.
Right.
Doesn't make any sense.
Exactly.
If we have Cody win, consolation prize. He gets the secondary belt, and he forever has kind of maybe finished the story.
Here's your golf clap. Congratulations, Cody, you did it. But then what do we do?
And if Seth wins, that's even worse. What have we done with Cody for another 2 years?
Exactly.
We do another 2 years of building up to another different bloodline?
And again, if Cody wins, Seth's hurt. Is that really finishing any story?
Right. It's just there's
it's like a tainted WrestleMania already.
I have an extremely difficult time thinking that they are going to be able to swerve out of the mud with this one and come out on top and have everybody feel like, oh wow, I can't believe they got us on this. And of course, card is always subject to change.
Right.
I could be completely wrong, and we could all be completely wrong, and this could be an entire swerve. And I know I threw out...
But then that doesn't make sense.
I know I threw out a triple threat between The Rock, Cody, and Roman at Mania. There's no way in hell that's going to happen. Nobody wants to have a triple threat match, especially with those three men. Plus, and again, there's no way that Cody would win that one.
Right, but let's be honest. They could very well be like, hey, you know what? This isn't being received well. We need to change it again.
It's not.
Because it is the most disliked video in WWE history.
It is.
If I'm not mistaken.
Last I knew, it was 450,000 dislikes. It's probably up to 500,000 at this point, as compared to its 120,000 likes. The hashtag... We Want Cody has been trending for quite some time since SmackDown. A lot of people are tweeting it out. There has been just an audible groan from the wrestling community over the events of Friday, and I can't.
Understandably so.
I can't diminish that. Yes, this match is going to be good if it's Roman and Rock at Mania. But I can't. This isn't what I wanted.
It's not what anybody wanted.
Nobody,
And it takes away from so much of the past. Again, the Royal Rumble win, all the losses Cody had to take from Brock Lesnar and all these other people just to get to this point to where it meant something when he finally won this belt.
I know.
Now what are we going to do? Like you said, it's Cody Rhodes' consolation prize.
It doesn't feel good.
And we have Cody on Monday and we have Roman on Friday.
Probably Rock.
I promise you, if The Rock wins WrestleMania, I'm shutting WWE off. I'm done. And honest to God, 20 years ago, if you would have told me that The Rock was still able to do something like this, I would have been like, yeah. But now,
and that's what I mean.
ridiculous.
20 years ago,
ridiculous.
Yes.
Now,
15 years ago,
think
yes.
about the
10
irony.
Years ago, 10 years ago, when
Sure.
he was Fast and Furious famous,
yeah,
I could see it.
Okay, but now think about the irony in this, though. That if that's what happens, okay, Cody Rhodes left WWE, went and built a company with his friends
After traveling the world, making a name for himself.
Then left that company because he didn't want to appoint himself as a champion, just to move over to a company that very well could have just appointed themselves a board member of this company as a champion.
It's got bad. It's got a bad taste in my mouth. And
It
I don't
really
like
does.
it.
Same.
I really think, and
It's going to be hard to sell this to everybody.
well, and that's the thing is, I don't think they're worried about it.
Yeah.
I don't know if WWE, and I mean this like with as much levity as possible, I don't think that WWE doesn't care about their fans. I don't think that in the least bit. I know that the company, the individuals in the company, the people that are trying to produce a product for wrestling fans care about the fans. I just think that WWE has been a victim of way too large of a corporation being run by way too stuffy of individuals
and favoritism.
that have absolutely well. I mean,
Let's be
what they're
honest.
looking at it as a paycheck. They're looking at
Right.
how much money can we eke out of WrestleMania, and I get it as
That
a
takes
business
away from
standpoint,
WWE,
as a
you know?
managerial standpoint. It makes sense. You want to you always want to have your biggest running product at the forefront of your company, the hardest push, the one that's going to make you the most money, and The Rock is going to bring them in money. The longevity of this is they're going to have to tread a shitload of water just to get themselves out of this hole and make it seem like Cody Rhodes isn't just a joke on the fucking roster. Because if he doesn't, like, if this doesn't move the way it needs to and gives him that momentum and resumes what he is,
It's not enough, though.
You have moved him into WWE and put him in a worse position than he was in AEW.
Right.
And it's just like, damn, like
still
how do you
can't get the
how
damn
do you
belt.
invest all this time and money and energy, matches? You put down every one of your superstars.
Right.
You put like
Like I
everything
said, he's on the
he went
cover
through.
of the damn game.
And
Talking about finishing the story. Like, you can't backpedal enough to justify why The Rock is facing Roman.
And this is my only reason why I have hope. There's a small, tiny, insignificant sliver of hope deep down that I hope to God that they have something up their sleeves. That Rock is going to challenge Cody at Elimination Chamber for the match. That The Rock is going to, just something stupid to happen to where Cody gets his shot against Roman at Mania in the main event. And I'm really hoping that they're doing some swindling.
He just said
WWE
he didn't
shit.
want him at WrestleMania.
I know.
He literally came out on national television and told everybody, well, I don't want Roman Reigns at WrestleMania.
You know who else had to have somebody come out and tell him to quit being a bitch? Fucking CM Punk when Ace Steel came out.
CM Punk.
He was out there crying his little eyes out after his first goddamn injury, saying, I can't do this anymore. So what they do, they sent out Ace Steel like, no, quit being a whiny little crybaby.
Well, it was kind of inspiring until things happen later on in AEW history.
But regardless, like
it could be, maybe.
They could 100% do this.
Maybe.
They could 100% still like have The Rock put Cody over. Like they have the capability to do it.
It just sure
But will they?
doesn't seem like it. And I think if they did, it's only because they got such negative feedback, and that's...
Regardless, it needs to happen.
What, they need to just change their plans again?
They need to. I don't know. The only way that they can come out on top of this without a large majority of their fan base being very upset with the company, is to somehow get Rock to put Cody over. Whether it's he just steps back and says, you know what, I was wrong this entire time. I'm going to do the same. See, there you go.
Maybe I'll do the same thing.
You can do the same thing that Cody Rhodes did when he left his company. I didn't want to be in a position of power and put the belt on myself. So you know what, Cody?
But I was
it's
okay
your
with
match.
it last week.
And he just, here comes Cody's music, and it's all set up at Mania, and nobody knows about it until 5 minutes. Because he did that, what was the Hell in the Cell match? Or whatever match it was with Seth Rollins at Mania. It was at Mania.
Yeah, they weren't sure if he was going to be able to make it.
So there you go.
Seth
you
comes out in the dusty clothes.
Fuck Tony Khan. Who's in charge of creative? Triple H, call me. I'm telling you. Have Cody come out or have him all the way up till Mania, till the absolute minute the match is about to go, and you have Rock in the back come up on the big screen, and he goes, you know what? And does this whole spiel about how he's done it all, and doing this and this, that, and he's like, I'm going to take a page out of a real legend and do the same thing that Cody Rhodes did and pull myself out of this because it's not fair to put myself into this.
That would make
and
Rock
he grabs
look like
Cody off
such a
screen and says, "Have a good match," and fucking pushes him out. Who gives a shit? The Rock can look like a jabroni for 5 fucking minutes.
I mean, you can do that, but I think there's just an asterisk on that. Like, it's so lame.
It's because the only thing you can do to make Cody not be.
No, there's other things you could do. I think at that point you're going to have so many people pissed off that they're actually going to turn off the program and they're not going to tune in. Like, there's people on Twitter, I'm not over exaggerating, that are selling their tickets to WrestleMania.
Oh my God.
I am not joking. I saw this guy who was going to drive from Boston to Philadelphia, I believe is where the WrestleMania is.
It's a pretty long haul.
Pretty long haul to see Cody Rhodes finish the story, and that motherfucker sold his tickets because he didn't want to see The Rock versus Roman Reigns. And I think that's what's going to happen is if you did something like that and you last minute said, hey, you know, I'm going to be that guy. I'm going to be like Cody. I'm going to give you that opportunity. Here you go. So many people are not going to be watching.
Oh, yeah.
That you've kind of screwed yourself for that opportunity as well. I think they're in a bad position no matter what. But it's kind of surprising to think that they would have never imagined that this would have any type of backlash whatsoever. Was there just no personal feelings in this? And it's just,
probably not.
Okay, yeah, you know what? Let's just do that.
By the
Cody,
way,
come here.
If the rumors that have come out are true, it sounds like exactly that.
Yeah.
It sounds like they said, oh, he wants to finish the story. Well, I want another yacht, so the Rock and Roman's going to happen.
Yeah, it could be. It could be.
To me, that's what it sounds
feels like.
To me, that's what it sounds like. You have Endeavor TKO is really trying to push for this image. They're trying to, especially with the allegations happening in the previous weeks, they're really trying to get their product up and going once they move to Netflix so that you have a product that everybody wants to go on Netflix and watch.
Right.
So I'm sure that they are looking at it at a standpoint, well, The Rock sells seats. He sells T-shirts.
Sure.
You know, so does
Roman. That's a fact.
I mean,
that is a fact.
And then their other cash cow has a blown out tricep, so he's not going to be at Mania. And I don't mean that as a dig.
It
just that's the reality of it. He is a huge merchandise seller, and WWE loves money.
I guess the frustrating thing is it almost seems like WWE is not investing in their next Roman.
God,
that's what it felt like.
I thought we were talking about that a year ago.
Yeah.
And then they stopped doing that and they started focusing on the new. And exactly how you just said, it's 2024. We're right back to that.
Here we are again.
Fuck the young talent. Fuck the talent that's up and coming.
Yep.
Fuck your.
You like this guy too bad, you know, and that's unfortunate because it's like give the people what they want. If the people are really digging Cody Rhodes and they want him to be the guy who takes the belt off Roman Reigns, like, tell me, all bias aside, that doesn't make perfect sense for Cody to be the next guy. You have the huge heel for years running WWE. And then it's completely flip it around and have the biggest face turn into the face of this company. Cody Rhodes is totally that guy. It's so weird to me.
I don't want to use this term like because his dad, but he literally is the American dream. He didn't
really
like his position. He left where he was, gave up everything that he had at there. He could have
took a risk.
Could have been in a nice cushy job, just a paycheck every week, you know, no big deal. Instead, left what was not making him happy.
Sure.
And sought out what made him happy.
That's pretty courageous.
Created and built from the ground up a product that is still going today.
Yeah.
Still was not happy. Moved
Left
on,
that too.
Went to bigger and better ventures.
Right.
I mean, he literally is the American dream. He has a storied history with, you know, his father, his brother. Both are like arguably legends in wrestling history.
For sure. But he talks about, you know, growing up broke and his dad trying to hustle to make money because his dad was so much older when he had Cody.
And it's been well documented that the reason why Dusty didn't get the push when he was in the WWE or the WWF or whatever it was back then was because Vince McMahon held a grudge against him because he was so involved with the NWA being such a large part of that.
Yeah,
being
prolific character that if I take him, then nobody can.
And that's
I just won't put him on TV or do anything with him.
It's all speculation. That was why Cody never got like a push. That's why Goldust never got a push was because he was Cody or he was Dusty's kids. But now he's gone out, did his whole thing, came back to WWE, and I mean, I'm assuming they promised him the world. I don't like this move. I don't like if and I'm not even like a Cody super fan. Like
same. It's just
it doesn't feel right. When The Rock was coming out, it didn't feel right. It felt gross. It felt
it didn't feel electrifying. It felt weird.
Yeah. I mean, and again, the match, whether it's Roman or Rock, or it's Cody and Roman, or it's Cody and Rock, or whatever it is, The Rock is going to bring his A game. He's going to make the match look good. Roman's going to make the match look good. The match is going to be great because it is two really big names. And yes, I do want to see this match. I just don't want to see it at the sacrifice of somebody that I personally wasn't too involved with it originally, but now I feel 2 years in.
They kind of sold it to us, you know?
Yeah, I hook, line, and sinker on him. Like, I want to know how the story ends. I want to see the story come to an end.
Right.
And I can't, like, another year until Mania. Like, I feel like that's...
Yeah, you can't have...
It's going to be so diluted. Like, what are you going to do with him for a year?
That's what happens every time it comes around this time is the big pay-per-views come and go. And then you're like, well, of course he's not going to lose it anytime soon. And Roman only fights every, 3 or 4 months.
Yeah.
So it's like you have to kind of negate some of these pay-per-views. There's no way he's going to do Elimination Chamber and then come do WrestleMania. That's too soon.
And then
people are speculating that he's going to defend it both nights. You've got to be kidding me.
Roman's
There's absolutely no way. What is he, MJF?
But then that brings up another question. If you're looking for Cody to finish the story by Mania next year, does that mean Roman's going to hold the belt for a full another calendar year until Mania next year?
Yeah, just so they can give us what we wanted a year prior?
Or are you going to have Cody win the belt off somebody else? Or are you going to just have Cody beat Roman? Like, what's... At this point,
what's their plan?
Is finishing the story getting the belt? Is that it? Because I feel like now it also involves Roman Reigns and the Bloodline.
Well, because there's been so many stipulations added to said story,
and it feels
like it's got to be
fighting with this stuff.
Yeah, it feels like it's got to be Bloodline related to the ending. Because let's throw it out there and say The Rock does win it. Can Cody challenge The Rock? And now is that finishing the story again?
There's so many people fantasy booking that's what's going to happen.
Why?
I read one.
Why would
I read a
anybody
post
want to
today.
See that?
I read a post today. They said, "Oh no, The Rock's going to come in. He's going to beat Roman 5 minutes or less. He's going to be spent on the side of the ring, and Cody's going to come out with some contract with the WrestleMania contract, or the Royal Rumble contract, and say, well, no, this is my match, and then challenge The Rock." Just after
sorry,
that.
You would have had to have won the Money in the Bank contract and see these things aren't leading up. And then if you have Cody do that, and it's like, well, what did Damian Priest do this whole year? Like,
yeah, that's another thing. Damian Priest has still got that Money in the Bank champion or contract.
At this point, he's never going to cash it in. He's just going to lose it. Like, what is the grand story for a lot of these people? Like, you've got to think, or at least hope, that WWE years in advance decided, okay, Roman Reigns we're going to have him, be this legendary guy, succeed for years. He's undefeatable pretty much, except for one person who's Jay. Here's the next person in line.
Dave Meltzer has definitely expressed that at one point, WWE knew how the Bloodline storyline was going to end.
Triple H just hinted at it.
And you're going to tell me that they were just waiting for The Rock?
It all of a sudden?
You're just waiting for The Rock to come around and be like, okay, here's the end.
Like, that's so ridiculous. You can't tell me that years in advance you decided it was going to be The Rock.
There's no way.
You would have done something, anything.
But you know what? Then again, 2 years ago, they teased this.
They teased it, but like, okay.
Last year they teased it.
When Jimmy and Jay were having that match where it was supposed to be that, they kept talking about, we talked to
one of the family members.
They called them something specific. It wasn't the family members, but like, one of
the board members. Yeah, I know. What you're talking about,
whatever. Like one of the higher ups in the family.
Right.
So they should have brought in Rikishi, The Rock, somebody to symbolize that. That would have been an opportunity that if you knew The Rock was going to come in and take this
one of the
belt,
elders. It was one of the family elders. That's what it was.
Thank you. You could have totally brought The Rock in for that situation and teased it. Dropped anything aside from... I remember
what you're talking about because that was a big thing. People thought it was going to be The Rock.
I was assuming
they kept
Rikishi.
There's somebody of that nature
Jesus,
of
that's
the family.
Their father.
But they never ended up. That was the whole tribal.
They never
combat.
brought anything in, and the one stipulation they totally went against.
Yeah, no outside interference. It's a fight of honor, and they didn't do that.
And there was outside interference.
Yeah,
They could have teased something then if their plan was for it to be The Rock. I have a very hard time believing years ago they decided it was going to be The Rock.
I believe there was teasing because right around that time is when Young Rock, I think that was the show, the name of it, was going on. And in one of the episodes, a young Dwayne Johnson looks at a young Roman Reigns and says, one of these days, you and I are going to fight at WrestleMania.
Totally. I know exactly what you're talking about. I've seen the clip. That's the hint.
They have been.
That was the hint. I've never seen that show. I just saw that clip literally like a month ago.
Oh, really? I heard about it when it
never even heard about that clip until literally I saw it a month ago. That was your hint?
That was back when it was being floated. That's when it was 2 years ago when it was like a rumor that was going around that was going to be like a big bloodline segment, was that, Rock was going to come in and he was going to fight Roman at WrestleMania. So they've been hinting for a bajillion years at this point.
A hint is fine. You can hint at a bunch of stuff, but like storyline, there's like no hinting whatsoever.
I know.
There's no flashbacks. There's no talk of The Rock. It's not like Roman's been talking about him for a few weeks.
He just showed up. I think it was on a Raw, just like boom.
He just showed up the first Raw of the year. This whole thing just feels icky. Like, why is everybody fighting all year long just to have a superstar come in and win? Like, I think it's okay.
One that hasn't had anything to do with WWE all year.
I think it's okay to bring in your John Cenas. Like, look, I hate to compare. You can't really compare a lot of people to John Cena. Like, I mean that in the nicest way.
Can't really compare that many people to The Rock.
Yeah, but like, look what John Cena did. He was like, "Oh, I'll come in."
I put in Austin Theory.
He put over Solo Sikoa so well.
Oh, yeah.
Like, he did the job that he was supposed to,
and bought into the gimmick, saying, "I haven't won a match in televised WWE
I totally
in 4
got
years.
this.
I need to win." Or no, it was 10 years. It was something ridiculous, but it was just like, but he still went in and did the job.
He did.
He went in and did the job for Solo, and it's like, holy shit, Austin Theory and Solo Sikoa can now forever say, I have a win over John Cena.
Right. He made the next talent look better. If the intention here is to make Roman look better, I'm having a hard time understanding how bringing The Rock in is going to make Roman look better.
It would elevate him to the point where he's beaten the Great One. The Great One is 50 some odd years old and not at the top of his game anymore.
Exactly.
Yes, he looks like a physical specimen that was designed in a laboratory.
Right. But being able to say you beat Cody Rhodes twice is huge in comparison to something like that. Somebody who does.
In comparison to beating The Rock?
Yeah.
No way.
That's huge.
No way.
We're talking, like you said, you're talking about 50-year-old Rock.
I know, but still. He's already beaten Cody.
Right. I just meant in the sense that Cody goes out there every week and he wrestles and he's striving and he's trying.
If you're talking about effort and like putting in the time, 100%.
And wrestling wise, he's actually wrestling constantly, thus for deserving such a thing.
Right. Yeah. This feels like The Rock walked in, said, "Oh, I heard you guys have a job opening. Here's my application. You should hire me because I know how these things work. You guys are going to hire me? Great. You should give me the belt. No, we should really, give me the belt. Look, CM Punk, sir, give me the belt."
He just slapped his junk on the table and was like, I got it.
Pulled out the almighty pebbles and said, this is what we're doing.
It's just unfortunate, And I think what frustrates me a lot, they're not going the way that a lot of people want. But what's really weird here, too, is like, let's step back here and remember what's going on. This is a wrestling match. All again, bias aside about who you like. Can you really tell me that The Rock now, this year, 2024, versus Roman Reigns, again, this year, 2024, facing each other is really a wrestling match that's going to be so entertaining that you're going to be talking about what happened wrestling move wise?
We are now going to be talking about how The Rock took Cody's spot 1,000 times more than either The Rock winning or Roman winning.
But it was never about wrestling to begin with, which is so frustrating.
Right.
Again, I grew up a huge Rock fan. He's got a select bag of moves. Roman Reigns has a select bag of moves.
Oh, yeah.
I can close my eyes and see this match in my head.
Oh, yeah.
There's nothing that's going to be surprising aside from the outside interferences that happen, what happens with the ref, and how ingenious The Rock is with what he can pull off. Other than that, we've seen it.
Right.
I think that's the nice thing about having somebody who's younger and who's like Cody Rhodes, who wrestles all the time, who obviously can wrestle. And don't get me wrong, he has his select bag of moves too.
And also is a little bit more in tune with the current wrestling crowd.
Yeah, the entertainment was there in the actual wrestling sense. I feel like this is purely just a like drama series, and the wrestling is on the back burner of the importance of this. The story's the important thing, and nobody cares about the wrestling.
I mean, it's WWE.
That's just unfortunate. What happened to the wrestling?
I went out of WWE years ago.
You know, what happened?
It's going to be a good match. If it goes the way that we all think it's going to go, it's going to be as big as they say it's going to be. It's going to do as well as they think it's going to do. And I think it really boils down to that this is one of those days and times that WWE fans, whether you're a hardcore fanatic, whether you're part of the IWC, whether you're a casual fan, whether you're my stepfather who watches one match on SmackDown and only one match, doesn't worry about anything else. Like it is just a big reality check that no matter how much you think somebody deserves something,
yes,
if the powers that be don't want that to happen, they will make whatever needs to be done happen.
Sure.
And I think that's just, I think that's all this is that somebody saw the dollar signs when The Rock walked in to WWE headquarters and said, you know what? Cody's not going to draw as big as The Rock. We're going to go with The Rock. And
I just have a hard time believing that's true.
I can't see why any other reason would be viable for this situation.
Or it's a majority rules, because apparently The Rock has more say than Triple H is what I'm reading.
Yeah. Again, it's like the theme of the whole episode. It's all speculation.
I really don't know. I haven't seen any of the paperwork or anything, but that's what I'm reading, is that he does have more seniority over Triple H, which is absolutely crazy. What a crazy time. If you would have said in the Attitude Era that these two would be in charge and Vince wouldn't be there anymore, could you imagine?
Yeah, 2024 in WWE is interesting.
So we're posting this a little bit later in the day, so Raw is actually happening for us in the next hour. I doubt we're going to be seeing anything on Raw. They do have, again, some type of live event with a face-to-face confrontation between
this Thursday.
Roman, between Roman and The Rock. Again, haven't announced anything, so I'm assuming they're trying to get people to tune in and go physically to that actual event.
Yeah, you're actually selling tickets to it, which is interesting.
Yes, very interesting.
Personally, I think they're testing the waters to see if they can sell a Thursday event with WWE branding.
Okay.
But
with Friday being up as a toss-up day, whether SmackDown's going to stay on that day?
I think they've said that it's not going to.
SmackDown or Raw?
SmackDown.
Oh, okay.
Raw has been speculation because it's not going to, a TV network.
Yeah, so you can air it anytime, really.
But yeah, tonight speaking of Raw, we've got Raw, and I'm sure we're probably going to hear from Cody Rhodes. Seth Rollins is probably going to say something because it all involves him and all the shit that Roman Reigns ended up talking about his title. I'm sure he's going to have some type of response.
I feel like it might be a generic, lengthening of the situation so they don't answer anything. They might be feeling out how people are feeling about this match, and like you said, they might even be changing their mind.
I don't think they're going to be. They need to feel out any more of what the fans may or may not. I think they well know the backlash of what they've done. I don't think they're changing course.
You don't think so?
I think this is just going to be steady as she goes, rolling off into WrestleMania and another disappointing WWE storyline. But God, I hope I'm wrong. But I think SmackDown's going to be an interesting time. I think we're going to find out a little bit more now. The next 8 weeks is going to be an interesting time.
Hey, anything can happen. You never know. We could be headlining WrestleMania.
God, that would be slightly less interesting.
Hey, it'd help us pay the bills. So at this point,
I mean, I'll get paid like 1/10 of what they're giving Dwayne Johnson just for his his board member or whatever the hell he's. Because I don't even know what his position is. It's like, it's something
$100 million a year or something like that.
No, I really think it's like 15 mil over 2 years. Like something ridiculous.
It said, I read something earlier today. It said he makes like $100 million a year or something like that.
Yeah.
Maybe it's 10. Still, that's a ridiculous amount of money.
Too much for anybody.
Yeah, too much for just one person. But I think that's going to do it for this episode. Believe it or not, we were able to speak about just one generalized topic.
Well, it was a bunch of them.
45 minutes.
A bunch of them slammed together, and it's a continuing conversation.
All right, friends, you know the deal. If you haven't already followed us on X, I still like calling it Twitter. X is weird. I can't believe they stuck with that. We are at CAW Wrestling Pod, not only on there, across all social media platforms. Make sure you follow me. I'm at A Bacon Party.
You can follow me at Gunk Dudley. Start your week off right every Monday with a fresh episode of Coffee and Wrestling, a wrestling podcast. Fresh, ready to go at 4 a.m. every Monday morning for you to listen to. Thank you so much for listening. We will see you in the next episode.